Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk. I'm Rick Kessler with RV Business. We're on the campus of the RVMH Hall of Fame and Museum along the Indiana Toll Road here in Elkhart. And joining us is Darryl Searer, President of the RVMH Hall of Fame and Museum. Darryl, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. I'm really looking forward to sharing some information that's pretty exciting about the RVMH Hall of Fame.
Well, one of the most exciting things has been, as we emerge from this pandemic, the popularity of the Hall of Fame with the consumer crowd has really seemed to have taken off.
That's for sure. We're this year, in fact, we don't compare anything to last year. So any comments I make where I slip up and say about last year, I'm really talking about 2019. So we're comparing to the best year we ever had. And this year, our museum and our gift shop is running approximately 30% ahead of 2019, which is just phenomenal. And what we see is a lot of families coming that didn't come in the past. And when I say a lot of families compared, if I was comparing the number per week in years past, it may be 5 or 6, where now we're getting as many as 8 and 10 a day.
So we were on vacation for 2 weeks. I'm an avid RVer from, and we actually all are, but from my grandpa's days, and he never got to visit here, but he started as a Mercury Lincoln dealership in 1946, and I would clean and service his RVs from Hanover, Pennsylvania in the 80s and 90s, and we traveled to Alaska in RVs, but he never visited here because he had passed away. He'd love it had he made it, but.
So it's phenomenal. The people that are showing up and traveling and out and about, and definitely I think they're looking at the pandemic in the rearview mirror.
I think, and one of the things that many of those people are taking advantage of is the Hall of Fame is now part of the Harvest Host Network. What's that all about?
We joined Harvest Host a little over 2 years ago, and as one of their destinations, and folks can come here with their RVs. They can spend the night for free as long as they come to the Hall of Fame and go through the museum. And if they get here in the morning and go through the museum, they can spend that night as well. So it's another place for RVers to spend the night. And I've heard in the news that a lot of campgrounds are full, so it's kind of nice to be the Harvest Host guest.
That's terrific. That's terrific. One thing we certainly need to talk about is what's going on behind our shoulders here, and that is the expansion of the facility, and it's for Manufactured Housing Museum. Am I right?
That's correct. You know, RVMH Hall of Fame's been around a long time, and as people come in, we welcome them, and we said, what does MH mean? And they always say motorhome, and it's not motorhome. It's manufactured housing. And right behind me, you're seeing the construction of a long-awaited for manufactured housing museum. It's one of a kind anywhere in the world, and it's going to be a wow factor. You're going to see, the theme is kind of yesterday, today, tomorrow. You're going to see units where it started way back in the covered wagon days. You'll see units from the 30s, the 50s, the 70s, up to the late 80s. In used units, and then you're going to see brand new units. You'll see the most popular unit, which is a 16 by 76 foot brand new unit. You'll see a double wide inside. You'll see the home of the future outside. So it's going to be a wow museum, and we'll also have a number of interactive displays that will get people involved. And when they finish their tour through the museum, there'll actually be a kiosk there where they can get more information about manufactured housing.
And Darryl, and rightfully so, you're pretty proud of that all of this is being built with money on hand.
Well, when I started a little over 9 years ago, the comment was made that when we get out of debt, we can never go in debt again. So we had to raise the money for this before we could build it. And when we saw the support from the manufactured housing people in the first month, we went ahead and bet on the fact that the money would come in, and it has. We've raised $1.75 million in the first 5 months, so it is paid for when it's completed.
And before we move on to one other topic, I understand those people driving by at night are going to be in for a treat as well now.
That is true. We just committed to new signs on the building. They'll look very similar to what they are today, except it will say RV and MH museums from either way that people are approaching. And then in the middle it'll say RVMH Hall of Fame. And there'll be black letters, but when night comes, they turn white. So everybody driving by all night long is going to know what this building's all about.
That's terrific. That's terrific. One last question, and I think this also speaks to the rise in popularity of the Northern Indiana Event Center, but we do have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony coming up August 16, and you have a very special guest coming.
That is true. We have the governor, Governor Holcomb, state of Indiana, will be here for the cocktail party and hopefully stay for dinner. And so that's a special guest. And of course, we're inducting both the class of 20 and 21 because we didn't have an induction dinner last year because of the pandemic.
Well, that's outstanding. One of the other things that we probably should mention, after the induction ceremony, as far as the RV industry is concerned, the next big event for the industry, of course, is the open house. You again are going to host some suppliers for the expo down at the event center.
That is correct, and we were sold out the very first year. The second year was the pandemic, so we didn't have one. So now this year, we've expanded it somewhat, and with the facility we have, and we're sold out again. And behind me here, where you see the Manufactured Housing Museum, next to that, it's already partially prepared for a new 39,000 square foot event center. And that event center will house all of the suppliers in the future. Don't have a deadline on it yet, but in the coming months and probably not years, but months, we're going to be seeing a new event center, and our overflow then will be where we have them today in the Ingram Hall in the original building. So that's exciting.
I think what I'm hearing here is that the Supplier Expo, any suppliers who are interested probably ought to lock it in right now for the next 10, 20 years.
I have a waiting list already. So,
Darryl, thanks again.
okay, you're very welcome. Been my pleasure.